Hey, so I love the Bible. It's so weird. Some of these stories are weird, but it's awesome. About guts and beating up bad guys. So, chapter 20. We're in 1 Kings chapter 20. So there's this bad old king. His name's Ben-Hadad, and he goes and picks a fight with Samaria. So he goes and he attacks the city, and he gets inside the city, and he sends messengers into the city to King Ahab after he had attacked the city and he's inside the city. He sends messengers to King Ahab, and this is what Ben-Hadad says. He says, "Your silver and your gold, they are mine. And the best of your wives and your children, they are mine." Okay, so the king of Israel, who is Ahab, he is a big wimp, and he says, "Just as you say, Lord, my lord the king, all that I have is yours." So Ben-Hadad, not happy with having all the silver, gold, and best wives and best kids, he sends messengers again and said, "This is what Ben-Hadad says. I sent to you demanding your silver and gold, your wives, and your children, but about this time tomorrow I'm going to send my officers to search your palace and your houses of all your officials. They will seize everything of value to you and carry it away." So King Ahab says, "Well, I agreed to the first part, but I can't agree to the second part. You can't have everything that belongs to everybody." So Ben-Hadad replies, "Tell my lord the king, your servant will do all that I demanded the first time, but I cannot do what you demanded the second time." They left, took the answer back. Then Ben-Hadad sent another messenger and said, "May the gods deal with you ever, be it ever so severely." I don't know why they always say that, but it's basically, they're like making it really, "I'm so serious." And said, "May the gods deal with me, be it ever so severely, if enough dust remains in Samaria to give each of my men a handful. I'm going to so kick your butt that the city isn't even going to exist anymore. I'm going to take everything from you, even the dirt. My men there won't even be enough dirt left for all my guys to have a little handful of dirt." Right? So they're basically talking smack. Like, "Your mama wears army boots. I dare you. I double dog dare you. I triple dog dare you." All those things kings do. Then the king of Israel said, "Tell him, one who puts on his armor should not boast like one who takes it off." So basically, you talk a good game, but do you have the actions to back up your game? Like, you can put armor on and act like you're all tough, but in the end of the day, who's going to be taking their armor off? Is your butt going to be kicked? You going to actually be able to take that armor off, or am I going to kill you? So it's like basically coming down to the triple dog dare you that this is really going to happen, right? So Ben-Hadad heard the message and prepared to attack. Okay? So in the meantime, the Lord loves Ahab. He loves Israel probably most of all. But he wants to show Ahab that he really is God and that he's awesome. So meanwhile, God sends a prophet to Ahab, king of Israel. He says, and the prophet announced, "This is what the Lord says. Do you see the vast army, this vast army? I will give it into your hand today. And then you will know that I am the Lord." Ahab should know that after he saw on Mount Carmel the fire come down. He should know that after he saw the rain, when Elijah said, "It's not going to rain until I say," and then when Elijah said, "It's going to rain," that very day after 3 years of no rain, the very day Elijah said it's going to rain, it rained. He should know that God is God. But God's going to prove it to him one more time. This king that's come in is going to destroy the whole lot of Israel. God says, I'm going to show you that I am the Lord. All right, so Ahab says, how am I going to do this? And he says, well, this is how you're going to do it. Your young officers, the provincial commander, they're the ones that are going to do it. And he says, well, who's going to start the fight? And God said, you will. All right, so this is what Ahab has. He has 232 men, young men. He has 7,000 in all. Not very many people. All right, and he's going to go fight up against 32 kings that have allied themselves against one another. All right, so not very favorable odds. So these 32 kings were all in their tents getting drunk. All right, and Ahab sets out with his men, and they advance. Now, they have scouts, which are usually guys that, look far in the distance, and they see the troops coming. So they go out to meet them with their little party, and they're going to, talk, So, what are you guys going to do? You going to come attack us? And so, okay, well, all right, we'll send back word to the king. And are you sure you don't want to surrender? Right, that's what their plan is. So they send some guys out to meet these guys that are coming. So, the guys, we're just going to go talk to you guys. And these guys kind of, kill them all, right? So they don't want to talk. King Ahab means business. He just runs right out through them, and every guy just draws a sword and kills all these guys. So they just go. And then everybody gets scared, and they're like, hey, wait a second. These guys are coming to kill us all. They don't want to talk. They're not going to surrender. So then they go, and the young officers struck down, each one of them struck down his opponent. At that, the Arameans saw they meant business, and they fled with Israel in hot pursuit. And all of the kings escaped on horseback. The king of Israel advanced and overpowered the horses and chariots and inflicted heavy losses. All right? So they got their butts kicked. And Israel won because God wanted to show Ahab, and then you will know that I am the Lord. Pretty cool story, huh? Then the guys that got their butts kicked, they're like, Well, anyways, first of all, the Lord comes to King Ahab and he says, strengthen your position, because this exact same thing's going to happen next year. All right? So next spring, the king of Aram is going to attack you. Strengthen your position and see what must be done. Now, the kings that got their butts kicked, they're like, this is why they were too strong for us, because their gods must be gods of the hills. So next year, we'll fight them in the valley. All right? So, the next year they fought they got to where they're going to fight in the valley, and the man of the Lord of God came up and told the king of Israel, this is what the Lord says, because the Arameans think that the Lord is only the God of the hills and not the God of the valleys. I will deliver this vast army into your hands, and you will know that I am the Lord. So I can kick butt in the hills and I can kick butt in the valley. Right? So the Israelites had a year to work, and the Israelites went and they inflicted 100,000 casualties. And the rest of them were escaping to this city, and it was called Ahapach, something like that. And when they got there, 27,000 of them got a wall fell on them. I don't know how you can get 27,000 guys under one wall. I don't know, but God did it and killed 27,000. So the enemy, this Ben-Hadad king and all those kings that allied, they're like, this is retarded. We got to surrender. And they said, look, we have heard the kings of the house of Israel are very merciful. So this Ben-Hadad comes up, and he's got the white flag out, and he's going to surrender. And he goes and he says, let's talk to King Ahab. And Ahab and them get together, and he says, I will return all the cities my father took, and you can set up markets in all of Damascus, and you can do business there, and I'll be good. And Ahab says, on the basis of this treaty, I will set you free, and I'm not going to kill you. So they made a treaty together. And this is an interesting part. God gets a prophet, and the prophet goes up. He's to the guys in battle, and he says, oh, "Hey, somebody hit me." He goes up to one guy, "Hit me, hit me, hit me," and he's like, "I'm not going to hit you." And he says, "Okay, today a lion's going to eat you because you wouldn't mind me, because God said you're supposed to hit me and you wouldn't hit me." Sure enough, a lion eats that guy. So the second guy, he goes up to the second guy, "Hit me, hit me, hit me." So the guy, okay, and he punched him in the eye. Guy puts a headband on his head, and he goes and he pretends like he's been in battle, and he goes to King Ahab and he says, "Oh, King, this horrible thing happened. You know, I was put in charge of somebody. They gave him to me, and they said, you know, watch him, and if you lose track of him, we're going to kill you." Okay? So, sure enough, I got busy in the battle. He's making this whole story up to King Ahab. God's trying to show Ahab, he's trying to give him a visual of what he had done wrong. So, he made this whole story up. I was supposed to watch this guy. They said if I lost him, they were going to kill me. I lost him. And now what should happen to me? And King Ahab says, well, you should probably die, because that's what they said. You know, the rules were you lose him, you die. So the verdict is you die. And then he took his headband off, and King Ahab recognized him as a prophet of God. He's like, and so he said, this is what you did. God gave you the king that, and you should have killed him, but you didn't. And you made a treaty with him, so you're going to die. So, happy. I've enjoyed all these wars and battles and interesting things like someone not hitting someone and getting eaten by a lion. And anyways, I love you guys so much. Y'all have a good night.